Today we're gonna just talk about the bench press. So first thing, what are the characteristics of this high arching, USAPL style bench press?
So we see more bias to flaring the elbows, more internal rotation, more extension at the rib cage, a lot more use of the legs.
Yep, and so that involves, right, feet placement, more thoracic, and usually the elbows are gonna be more flared to start. So slide. Anas can tell us a little bit about how we're sliding in.
Yes, so with the slide, the biggest thing is we want to take advantage of the contact points that we can use to create the arch. We want to use them as leverage to create this high arch position. So we have 3 contact points, which are the floor, which is feet are in contact with the floor. The second thing is the bench pad, which we have the neck, upper back, and the butt will be in contact with the bench pad. And the last contact point would be the bar, and basically like the palms, the hands are gonna be in contact with the bar. So we covered the 3 contact points. Now we're gonna go over how do we get to this final product utilizing these contact points. So what is the final product? The starting position is a flat back. We start flat back. From here, scoot up, give myself some room to slide and use this contact point, which is the bench pad. So from here, I'm gonna start by flattening the neck. From here, flat back, legs are relaxed. And from here, I'm gonna initiate that slide by pushing horizontally with the feet as I am anchoring my palms against that bar so I don't fall off the pad, and I can actually use this contact point to coil my rib cage up, which will look like coil, coil, up, up, up. Now I'm running out of space. Pull the feet back a little bit further so I can drive higher. And as I'm sliding, I'm using the friction against the pad to depress my shoulders. So it is three things going at once. Feet are pushing, I'm setting the shoulder position, the neck position, and I'm setting the elbow and wrist position all at the same time, using the legs to elevate that rib cage, using the bar to create this hand, elbow, and shoulder position, and using that third contact point, which is the bench pad, to create this depression of the shoulders, and also help with this rib cage extension and protraction.
And the important part to note on this is when we're sliding, we're really using our hands to push into the bar to then push into our neck. So we're using the bar to create a friction onto our neck. And if the pad is not extremely slick, you're just gonna end up catching the skin, and you'll essentially get to an end range with your feet. So the force is what really matters here. It's the force into the bar, creating traction down onto the neck, but then it's all anchored by the feet. The feet are actually gonna be the thing that keep our shoulders in position and keep our hands connected to the bar to our final result, which is the rib cage extension. We want this rib cage. The final result, if we do it right, it's gonna be a very large representation, a lot of extension in the ribs.
And from there, the last point is how much retraction do we want with the scaps? The general rule of thumb is you want to leave some room in the scaps for them to move as you are bringing the bar down, because naturally, as the bar is coming down with the flared elbows, you can try it at home with no weight. Try to keep the elbows out and pull them back. You're gonna feel the shoulder blades pinching together So that's what's gonna happen on the bench. As you're bringing the bar down, the shoulder blades want to pinch together and retract, but if you already start fully retracted, you can't really move at the scaps, then something else is gonna move. Whether it's like an orientation change with the shoulders going forward or tucking at the elbows and touching lower. So you wanna give yourself some room to create this retraction as you're going down.
One easy way to actually get this right the first time is when you're sliding in, what's gonna happen is you're gonna get your shoulders down to as far down as you can get them, right? We've already passively pushed into the bar, we've already created the neck tension, but if our elbows are already flexed, we only have a certain amount that we can really go. Over retracting tends to happen if the elbows are soft, because then that allows you to almost overdo it, which then ends up, like Anas said, creating a problem. So if our elbows are locked on the unrack, if we truly can lock our elbows on the unrack, what's gonna happen is you're not gonna really be able to retract too much. You're only gonna be able to get somewhere, and that's about it.
Just one sign to look for. If you unrack the bar and like you physically cannot lock the elbows, chances are you're probably overly retracting the shoulders.
And it's a positioning problem, exactly.
Then from there is the unrack. How do we maintain all of these things that we built up with the unrack? Even use the bar as leverage to create a better position rather than fighting against the bar and getting out of position from like unracking and protracting.
So basically what's gonna happen is as we're leveraging in, and this comes down to how far I'm sliding in. So if I'm able to slide in, say if I slide in here, right? And so this is pretty far away. My end position is here. So if I get to here, see how high I am now, see how much I'm reaching to the bar, right? Whereas if I slide in further, I'm already almost to my end destination. So I only have to get from here to here, and then I can simply go straight down from there.
Now that we reached our final position as far as the shoulders, rib cage, butt, and feet, we're gonna get to the unrack. How do we unrack and maintain this position, or even create a better position leveraging the weight on the bar? You see two types of lifters whenever they unrack. Some person would get a position benefit, like an increase. They get more efficient and like that range of motion decreases. And you have the people who kind of fight against that bar and kind of lose all that work or that position they created. And like the key is to leverage gravity, leverage the weight on the bar to create a better position. How do we do that? That's when the retraction space that we left comes in play. You want gravity to passively retract the shoulders down instead of you being actively retracting. So that's how you receive the bar. So once I unrack, the bar will actually sink me a bit lower here. So it would be, instead of doing this, we are using gravity to push us down here.
Yeah, and another way to think about this is kind of, we're pushing with our legs towards the wall. So what you want to do is when you unrack, I want you to push even more, and you're almost gonna roll, almost in a coil. You're just gonna coil a second time after the bars come out. So the bar's gonna come out, right? But then if you push one more time and coil again, it's gonna help you really sink even more after the weight has come out. Push an extra a little bit after the weight has come out. It will help you then coil one extra time so that you prevent it from being, stuck out and up in this position that he's talking about.
Cool. Some common mistakes we see, usually most of them are coming from the setup. The first one is not using the legs enough to create that arch. You see a lot of people trying to create that arch by retracting their shoulders or just like trying to create an arch without using the legs, which will not happen. Like you cannot really create an arch like here. You have to actively push with the legs.
What'll happen is as you descend, your rib cage is actually going to collapse because you don't have your legs involved. And so you end up seeing kind of a collapse of the rib cage. And you might even see this also on the way up, where it stays high on the way down, but then the lifter doesn't use their legs on the way up, and then you end up with a collapse there as well.
Moving on to the next mistake, not leveraging the weight on the bar. If you're pushing with the legs, but you don't have anything to anchor the shoulders down, what's gonna happen is the legs are pushing, but there's no arch being created. So we have to use this anchor point and push against it to anchor the shoulders to create this high arch position. The next one is what to do with the arm, with the hands. Usually you would see people thinking you have to squeeze the bar to actually create this tension position, but you do have to relax some areas and tension some areas. With the hands, the more you squeeze, the more external rotation you will create, which is not the position we want to land in as far as like the wrist and the elbow goes.
Neck being flush is an issue that a lot of people tend to have. Our neck classically has an arch in it, so not flattening the neck out enough prematurely. What they'll do is they'll slide in, but they haven't created that flushness yet. So since you don't have it flush from the beginning, it's going to be very hard to get traction as you slide in. So if your neck is arched, and you'll see this on your videos, if you're recording, you'll see kind of some light passing through the underside. And other indications of this also are that your traps are going to end up being very tight, because if your cervical spine, if your neck is arched, you're going to be sitting up on your traps. There's nowhere else to be.
Well, yeah, I think that is about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Oh my goodness.